Hello. How is everybody? Good to see everyone. I'm going to bring Crochetter up because why wouldn't I?
Good evening.
Well,
Hello.
hello, my friend.
Hello. Welcome,
Hello, my
chat.
dear friend.
Hi.
Yes, how is everybody? How are you, my friend?
Oh, I told you beforehand, my legs and my legs and my feet hurt because I was schlepping today too much dog food. And so I took a little bit of a nap because I'm old. And now I feel much better. And of course, I had to listen, unfortunately, to a few reaction videos to Ariana Grande and Cynthia Elvira from the Academy Awards for the 4th millionth time because I
Okay.
cannot help myself.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Little things that make us happy.
Well, that's wonderful. Yeah, exactly. Little things that make us happy. That is what we need to focus on.
Yes. Because we cannot watch all the other shit every day and listen to
No,
these idiots.
no. I'm, as I told you, I need to start practicing some self-discipline and
I
not
mean, to be quite
watching.
honest, it's not like that you would miss anything.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Anything important.
Right. I need to stop watching things that upset me. I want to wish everybody a happy Easter weekend. I hope
damn.
everybody eats a lot of chocolate and a lot of lovely pastry and so on. So enjoy yourselves. I hope you all have a great day with your families. And that's it. Have a great Easter weekend. And of course, I know, Anna, I know.
Somewhere over the rainbow. Couldn't help myself. Where is me, Clara? Hello? I cannot hear me, Clara. Thank you, Joe from Detroit. Member for 5 months. Hello, Anna Nicole. Oh, Anna, it's you. It's always you. Never forget, never forget. Hello, Astro, Rosie Rose. Easter. Damn it. Damn it. I have not prepared my Easter willy. Shame on me. Oh well, the next year again. A turkey for Easter? Anna, stop that. I really hope everybody is doing okay and maybe sees this stream as something different, you know, something that is good for everybody, where we spread a lot of positivity and not talking about stupid people.
Karsten, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Okay, good. So I went into StreamYard and I adjusted my volume. I apologize for my low volume. Yeah,
I was babbling along, you know.
that's fine. I was listening. Yeah, I've got to start showing some self-discipline and not watching things that get under my skin, upset me. The idiocy, I'm just not here for it. I'm not in the mood for it. I'm not in the proper mindset for it. Hopefully I never will be again. But I'm just over it.
That's okay, Clara. As soon as I have done my 10-hour supercut of Karina Kaboo repeats, I send it to you so that we all can feel better.
Oh, and of course, I have to backtrack on what I just said, because today, before coming on stream, I decided that I was going to watch an Amberlynn Reid video.
Ooh, fun.
And that was a whole thing. And the thing is that I can't even be mad at her. Like, I don't understand people who are taking all the shit she does so personally. Because she is who she is. She's never going to change. And when you accept that, it's like, it's another Amberlynn Reed video. She was having Arby's for breakfast,
Oh,
a dip sandwich and crinkle fries. And all that happened was I watched it and I got hungry. And then the rest of it was nonsense. It was about how she was trying to explain how she stays on track. So she made a giant stir fry, and she made some sort of frozen dinner, and then she ate a king-size Almond Joy candy bar. It's like, if you people really don't get it by now, then I don't know what to tell you. And I'm sure Karina Kaboom will make a 3-hour reaction to it.
a 10-parter.
Yeah, sure.
We don't have Arby's in Austria.
It's okay. You're not missing much. Seriously, it's not that great. It's just that the food looked tasty and I was a little bit hungry, so but you're not missing anything. Trust me.
No, we didn't watch Foodie driving like an idiot in Kuwait.
No. I haven't watched her content in years. So, no, I didn't watch it. And watching non-Middle Eastern people drive in the Middle East makes me very, very nervous.
But you cannot decide for who. For the
Correct.
non-Eastern Europe people or for the Eastern Europe people.
Yeah, exactly. And I have no interest in any of the reactions to it. I don't give a fuck about any of it. I'm just annoyed at this point. I'm more annoyed with myself for subjecting myself to that submental garbage.
Yeah, but we cannot forget you had a car accident, you are on pain medication.
True.
You had an operation, so there's something to go through the whole day.
Yeah, exactly. And I've really been enjoying, God damn it, why do I always forget to do what I need to do? All right, you guys, I've got a channel recommendation for you. And I've already recommended this channel to Karsten, who loves it. This guy is really adorable. Karsten, you will back me up on this. I know you.
Is it Mr. Indian?
Yes,
He's so huggable.
he is. He's adorable, and he streams or he uploads long-form content doing his reactions to reality TV. And these are all shows that I would never watch on my own. And just hearing his input is so lovely. I mean, it really is genuinely transformative content. Now, I don't know how it is that he still has a channel when he's reacting to 90 Day Fiancé and all those other shows that that are broadcast on a network that's very strike heavy, you know. Flawleycower, I'm glad. He is adorable. I just discovered him not long ago. And I think his content is great. And it's just really funny watching a very handsome straight man react to this garbage reality TV. I love it. I think he's great.
Straight man, how dare you?
I know, the nerve.
Destroying my hopes and dreams for my future.
The nerve. But yeah, he's very, very cute. So I wanted to open up by asking you your opinion on all the fuss surrounding this alleged space mission that just occurred. Katy Perry and Gayle King and Lauren Sanchez going into space.
I have to answer this with another question. How could that happen in the first place?
What do you mean?
That Katy Perry and Gayle and the other ones were able to fly into space. Why? Why do we needed that?
Well, Lauren Sanchez, because she's engaged to the owner of the company. And I'm guessing that she recruited the other ones. I find all the fuss about it to be absolutely hilarious. I mean, my understanding was that this company that Bezos founded, and just like Richard Branson's space company, is really meant in the long run to be like a space tourism company. and they don't have the resources or they don't have the ability to like fly tourists to the moon or whatever. So for some ridiculous fee, you can launch into whatever level of the atmosphere and you're up there for a few minutes and then you come down. And that's the end of that story. Nobody ever pretended that this was a mission to Mars or that it was serious science going on. And no, of course they're not astronauts. Let's cut it out. I mean, with their little Josie and the Pussycats flight suits. It's
I mean,
also
they looked cute,
they looked adorable.
like little Barbies.
They did. They did. They looked like a space tourist Barbie. Very, very cute and good for them. And I am pleased that everything went well and that they landed safely and all that. But overall, the fuss over it on both sides. You know, the people who are saying, oh, they're the first women in space. No, that's not true. And those who were like, oh, the mission was all fake. No, I mean, it did happen and it was what it was.
Yeah. I mean, I bet Greta Thunberg has one or two things to say about this whole thing, how much the environment is suffering when they are now starting to make these flights where everybody with a big money bag can basically say, okay, I want to be, for once in my lifetime, I want to go to space and want to have this experience. I don't personally care because what they are damaging our atmosphere with that, I think, is not that much in comparison to what we are doing on a daily basis all over the world. And we have to find, I think we have to find for the future a way how that we can travel on a daily basis, what you can see in science fiction movies, exploring new worlds and all of that. And there needs to be a regularity in it that the people are getting used to. Okay, let's fly to space next week.
Right.
I mean, I cannot remember for how long they have been in space. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 2 hours.
Not that long. Not that long. A very, very short period.
Is it that worth? I don't think so. Can you go to sleep and you can say, I was in space? Yes, you can.
Sure. Sure. Knock yourselves out.
Yes. Excuse me. I think the people are mainly triggered because it was an all-female cast on this rocket thingy. And they felt entitled afterwards. Like I saw in a picture, Katy Perry kissing the floor or the earth when she came back.
The drama.
A little bit much, isn't it?
Yeah.
We love ourselves a little bit of drama, but that's a little bit much.
Yeah, it was silly. It was a non-news event. And my friend Tom Nichols, I remember when Branson, Musk, and the other one, Bezos, started talking about starting these space companies. And Nichols was absolutely beside himself. You know, he's like, if this isn't an indication of what happens when bored, spoiled billionaires put their minds to something, like, wouldn't their money be better spent elsewhere? And you could make that argument, absolutely. But I think that lumping Musk into that is unfair because he is actually doing stuff, you know? Yeah. And yeah, okay, so far a lot of it is for show, but I mean, the other two are not hiding the fact that they just want to basically run shuttles into like the atmosphere. And I mean, if people want to pay for that, if you get enough people who are wealthy who want to pay for that experience, whatever, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, we have 2025. At this point, you can basically ask, okay, for how many decades is mankind flying into space? And why don't we have a space station on the moon?
Right.
Or an Airbnb on the moon?
Right.
Where Logan Paul and his family can travel for the weekend.
Oh, my God.
Because technically it is possible. And now, after a little transition to movies, Now that we have Mission Impossible coming to an end, Tom Cruise is planning on making the first movie completely filmed in space.
Right.
So we are really not that far off.
Because of course he is.
And of course he is, because somebody has
yeah.
apparently to do it.
And that somebody would probably be Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
So good for him.
Yeah, it's good when you have a little bit of a screw loose, and I mean this in the most respectful way to Tom Cruise. But he has done everything else.
Yeah, he has.
He flew the planes in Top Gun, all the stunts in Mission Impossible. Let's go to the moon. Okay, why not?
Yeah, why not?
He must do something, you know. What should he sit at home and eat bonbons?
Has he had a life or what? I mean, you reminded me just now that he flew the planes in Top Gun.
Yep.
The guy is incredible. The hardest working man in movies, which is why I don't begrudge him a single penny that he's earned making these movies. And good for him. And people are like, oh, well, he doesn't have the star power he once had because all of his movies are ensemble pieces and he can't carry a movie. Bitch, have you seen those stunts that he does? Are you serious?
If these stunts are not leaving an impact on you, I cannot help you.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm looking forward to that Mission Impossible. I mean, it's bittersweet because I love the Mission Impossible movies. And I was very sad that Part 1 last year didn't do well at the theater because it was just an unfortunate... It was
bad timing.
It was very bad timing, exactly. So it's a shame. But we are going to move on to a topic that occurred to me the other day because Crochetter finally got around to seeing the quote-unquote new Exorcist movie. And he had a lot of thoughts about it. Why don't you share your thoughts with the group?
First Snow White and then that. Okay, for the audience, just in case you didn't know, the studio had planned, after they bought the rights for The Exorcist, for an insanely ridiculous, stupid amount of money.
Insanely ridiculous.
High, not low, high, 100 million or something. They decided to reboot the whole Exorcist movie topic, whatever you want to call it, with a new trilogy. And they thought it is a good idea to bring a horror specialist over who had a decent success with the remake of the Halloween franchise. And he would start a new Exorcist trilogy. Well, it has not worked out that great, has it?
No, it is not.
Because after the first movie, the whole trilogy was dumped.
Right.
And I love that a smaller studio has the brain to say, okay, this was not it. Let's dump it.
Right.
When we still have Snow White out there and a multi-billion-dollar company like Disney is not able to say, let's scrap it. That was a stupid idea. Don't do it at all.
Yeah,
Put
exactly.
it in the shelf. Write it off. So, I was watching Exorcist, and again, it is now in the trash bin, and I have to live with that memory where they have wasted the career of Miss Bernstein for a few minutes on celluloid, and simply not. The soundtrack was boring, the story was confusing, The Exorcist itself, the act, was a great idea, but the execution was so bad it was not even funny. Not one actor except Miss Bernstein and Linda Blair's blow-up face left any imprint on me, and I'm pretty sure even this I will forget.
Yeah, and they pulled a massive bait and switch with this movie because
Massive.
they made it seem like Ellen Burstyn had a much larger role in the movie than she did. And so everybody who was a fan of the original was like, "Oh wow, we get to go back and we get to see Regan's mom and we get to see what happened and all of that." No, she's barely in the movie.
Yeah.
Barely. And they also did they pulled the same stunt with the movie poster where they had a girl on the poster who looked exactly like Linda Blair in the first one.
Yeah.
But Crochetter is right. I watched it last year and I was so disappointed. So disappointed that they were given the opportunity to do a retelling, and it's not like there haven't been a million movies about exorcists already. But it makes me wonder, why did they even buy the rights to the book? I mean, did they just buy the rights to the title or what? Because I didn't see, with the exception of like a few little connections back to the original story, there wasn't really an original connection to the story.
I would say if they have bought for this much money the rights, only that they were able to put Miss Bernstein, Linda Blair in it and call them by their real names from the past, the role names, that they are able to use the music, the original soundtrack, then they really paid too much for it.
Yeah, they really did.
Really too much. Otherwise, there was not, no. I mean, we are talking about the same demon who has possessed Regan in the first movie, and the demon does not even look the same.
Right.
So what are we trying to do here?
Right. So I thought to myself, okay, Karsten, I have a challenge.
Oh boy.
Because Karsten is a huge horror movie fan and I am not. So I thought, okay, since we are talking about the new Exorcist, let's come up with a list of either our favorite horror movies or horror movies that made an impact on us in some way. So
that was much easier for me, funny enough.
Yeah, that probably would be easier. So I've got my list and I'm going to start, and my number one pick, which will be to nobody's surprise, is The Exorcist. Not only because it was filmed in DC, and the locations were recognizable and you can visit them now if you care to do so, and I would advise that you do it. It was the impact that movie had on the movie-going public and the impact that it had on me. It was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And I honestly think that the great use of Georgetown University, the Jesuits, and the Catholic Church as part of the story really, Georgetown and the church are really like separate characters in the movie. And they're utilized so wonderfully in the film. And Georgetown is, if you've ever visited, Georgetown is a Gothic architecture campus. It does look very spooky. And the Exorcist steps are very, very scary. And so the way that they use the locations in the movie, absolutely amazing. I loved it. And to this day, if I watch the movie, I get this great sort of rush of nostalgia. And I absolutely love it. Okay, how about you?
Well, I made a top 5 list, and The Exorcist is in my top 10 list, not in the top 5. What I really, really want to comment extra to The Exorcist is the extremely strong attempt to show a realistic version of what they are doing in the movie. forget the decade where the movie was filmed with the green vomit and everything that would probably not work anymore. And it has not worked in the latest Exorcist movie with the green slime.
Right.
But the seriousness, the medical background, the religious background on the movie, that was also not as strong, not even close as strong in the new version. That was amazing. Because when people are watching the Exorcist movie now, generations, let's say 20 to 40, and they have never seen it, shame on them, first of all. Second of all, they're all saying the same stuff in the movie reaction community when the movie starts. I would not have expected that the movie would start like this. They have expected something, I don't know what, boom-pa-doom-pa-da, with a big poof. But now we are starting in the Middle East somewhere.
In Iraq, yeah.
Amazing to bring this topic slowly to the story. So my first pick was George R. Romero's Dawn of the Dead.
Okay.
Because I was 9 years old.
Oh, okay.
When my wonderful sister was babysitting me at her boyfriend's apartment, and I was bored, and I saw in the good old VHS tapes in the shelves, and I've heard with 9 years old about this movie. Can you believe that? And I really wanted to see it. My sister said, let's watch it. And I was not scared for 1 second, but I was so fascinated that movies like this are even existing, with zombies in a mall.
Right.
Where everybody is painted blue. And this extreme violence, and I was fascinated by the makeup, and this was the first spark where I thought, okay, I have to do something creative in life. I want to maybe become a makeup artist for special effects or something like this. There was immediately this connection away from, oh my God, I'm so scared. No, it was the story, characters, and with zombies in a mall. It was so abstruse in my brain, so that I was not having long-term nightmares about it, something like this.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mr. George R. Romero. Yeah.
So my next pick is, and you'll notice that a lot of these movies that I'm picking are quite old, but again, I saw them at a particular point in my life where they made an impact, like a serious impact. And one of the movies that I watched as a young woman that has never left me, and that I occasionally rewatch just for that sense of creeping dread, is The Stepford Wives, the original one.
Oh, wow. I have not seen that one in a while.
It is such a brilliant feminist horror story. You know, the young photographer with the family, that the husband moves out to Connecticut or the suburbs. They leave New York City, and she's detached from her friend group and detached from her, her profession, and then slowly begins to realize that the men in the town are up to something. And she notices that the women around her are changing, and she notices she has little to nothing in common with the women who live there. And so as a metaphor, it's a beautifully executed movie, beautifully executed. And the build up to the end is so frightening, so frightening. And it was a movie that had to have been made in the 1970s, which is why I think that the remake didn't do well. The remake was made as kind of a comedy.
I just wanted to say this without seeing the original one.
Yeah, exactly. And I saw some of it and I didn't like it, and I wanted to go back to the original one because it was such a classic slice of American history being presented in that horror format. So I absolutely love The Stepford Wives. If you haven't seen it, please do. All right, you go.
Speaking of Queen of Karma, no, my sister didn't traumatize me, but one of my brothers traumatized me with the next one on my list, which is a John Carpenter movie. And no, it's not Halloween, what a lot of people may think. It's actually the fucking fog. The fog. Not
Really?
the fog. If you remember, Clara. First of all, I love Jamie Lee Curtis because I was already a very good gay teenager. So, of course, I loved Jamie Lee Curtis. But this movie and what my brother did to me, the number, that he at night would knock at my fucking door.
Oh, God.
You know, the 4-time... Because they always knocked 4 times, which irritated the shit out of me as a
I'll
child.
bet. Yeah.
And my brother with a cigarette under the door, blowing smoke through the door.
Wow, he put a lot of thought into it.
Yes, to really to show me how much he hated me.
Okay, great.
And this movie did a number on me. When I watched it the first time, it was okay, but then the brother stepped in and stepped up the game from the trauma. And I could not watch that movie for years. And then I started to watch it again in my 20s. To say, okay, I'm a big boy. I can handle that movie now. I will not be remembered of. It immediately, and it still does to this day. I'm 53 years old, and every time they are knocking somewhere, I get shiver down my spine. And so I really, really enjoy that movie a lot. I know it's a very simple movie with so many plot holes and mistakes in the editing. I'm not talking about a quality movie with a quality story. But it was this impact for my childhood.
Right.
I know when it is fucking knocking. Yeah, I love that movie. I love Jamie Lee Curtis, and that, of course, as a child, I didn't know that her mother was in that movie. Yeah.
I always, because sometimes I have trouble keeping my thoughts together. Sometimes I mix the fog up with the mist. And obviously they're not the same movie, but
No.
yeah, the atmospherics of the fog, amazing.
And with how little budget John Carpenter were able to do that.
Right.
Amazing. I really had fun. It is not... Some people have, and I would say that, Clara, you have an intellectual approach to these movies. And I have just a sensation feeling for these movies. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, like I told you, I don't like horror movies. I don't like being scared. Like, I don't like slasher movies, and I do not like the hardcore Eli Roth movies, even though I did enjoy the first Saw because I thought it was very clever. I liked the idea behind it. And it was genuinely horrifying. But I'm not into, like, what can I say?
The chainsaws.
No.
And the body parts away and all of that.
No.
And
No.
I mean, it is for entertainment value or to show special effects or for something, but it's usually not adding to the story. Not really, no. And when I compare what you said earlier, I rather would rewatch on, I think it's on Netflix, The Mist. There's not the movie for the cinema. They have also produced a TV show,
Right.
in one season, and it's very, very good. It's really good. If you thought the characters in the movie were annoying, then in this TV show they cranked it up 100.
Now, one movie that you and I don't even know if you would classify this as a horror movie. But we can touch on it. And we don't have to put it on a list of favorites or hated it or anything. And the movie that I'm thinking of, speaking of extreme violence, is a Serbian film. I had a Facebook friend recommend it to me. And he was very, very insistent. Like, oh, if you like movies that are really outside the box, you have to see a Serbian film. And I have to say that I am absolutely astonished because I thought that he knew me better than that. And I sat through most of it, and I could not believe what I was seeing. And I think that that's the point of the movie.
Yeah. It reminds me so much of, and I always get now the number of days mixed up in my head. 7 days of Sodom,
Yeah,
5 days
yeah.
of Sodom, one of those movies.
Right.
It's great that I think that they are existing on this planet. Is it necessary? No. But to see, okay, how far can you go with one topic? Not how much can you show, but how far can you go with the story and with the characters? And crashing new limits or a barrier or something like this. I mean, we talked about the Serbian film, not today, but in the past. And it is what, Eastern Europe award movie? What did we say?
Something like that. Yeah.
And
it's
the
funny.
end shocked
Yeah.
me.
Well, yeah,
Which was
I mean,
funny for me because the whole movie didn't shock me. But the last scene shocked me. It really shook me.
right, right. And I love how the director, responding to criticism of the unbelievable, extreme, sadistic violence in that movie, was saying that it was supposed to be a metaphor for the Yugoslavian civil war. Nice try, dude. Nice try.
Little
Okay.
stretch.
A bit much. I'm sorry, but I did not think of the bombing of Sarajevo once when I watched that movie. I just saw something that was extremely disturbing and that came from the mind of somebody who may very well be disturbed. I'm not sure.
But it is when we had now, let's take all the horrifying stuff away from the movie. It is a good movie from Serbia. The script is very well written. It is filmed great. The soundtrack is great. The acting is really good for what it is. But then you put everything else back in there, and why? Why do we need this?
Well, yeah,
And then
exactly.
again, this last scene where they're all dead in bed, and spoiler, and then the one guy is saying to the other guy, "Start with the child."
Right.
And this sentence that took me over the edge, where I said, "Oh, I don't need that." Everything else, especially effects, and it's okay, Karsten, but this sentence was so.
I know, right? I know.
But maybe this was his point. Maybe.
So the next one on my list is, I actually have a not fairly long list, but longer than I expected. The next one on my list is Alien.
I share this with aliens.
Yeah, you know what? I think that Alien and Aliens is sort of like The Godfather 1 and 2. They're basically one movie, and, we can lump them together as one movie. It's not just the special effects behind the Alien. It is the absolute sheer terror of being stuck in space with an unfamiliar creature. And there's no escape. Where are you going to go? Where do you run to? It is just fundamentally a terrifying movie.
And whoever had the idea for that, he needs to be rewarded, a lifetime money payment or something. To take a creature where you basically, yes, it has acid as blood, but otherwise you don't know anything in the first movie about this creature. It is just there. And it just wants to kill you, and you don't know why, even why.
Right.
Because you are there. And then, as you say, you are stuck on this beautiful spaceship where I'm still wondering how they were able to pull that off in that time period, that it looked so good.
Yeah, and it makes me sad because I am such a huge fan of Ridley Scott's body of work. And I keep on wishing Ridley make one more movie, one more good movie. We want you to see you win your Oscar.
Yeah.
We want to see you win that Oscar. You deserve it. You are one of the most creative minds in Hollywood. And the stories that you have told on film are so incredible and so wildly different from one another. And when Ridley Scott is clicking on all cylinders, he is one of the greatest, probably one of the greatest directors of the 20th century. But he's really gone off his game. And all you have to do is watch, Alien or Gladiator or Matchstick Men or any of those movies to remind yourself that, or Blade Runner. I mean, and the movies that he's made have been hugely influential. I mean, there was one point when Blade Runner was the most written about movie in history because of all the nuanced, ethical issues brought up in the movie and what is human and all that. So anyway, Alien, and yeah, you're right. I will tack on Aliens too, or
it's
Aliens.
Like the double feature that you need in life.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
And you don't have to watch further sequels. It's enough. Watch Alien 1 and 2 and you are done for the weekend.
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
What you like to say, it is an experience, these movies. Where you sit there, this was 1978 or 79?
Right.
Wow.
Right.
And I remember Steven Spielberg saying in one interview how much he hated Ridley Scott for that movie.
Oh, really?
Because he said to the studios, I have worked now for 2 decades on showing people that they don't have to be afraid of extraterrestrials.
Oh,
with,
no.
E.T. and with the of the fourth kind, that one. And now Ridley Scott, a nobody at that time,
Right.
is coming along with the summer movie of the year back then.
Right.
And is scaring the shit out of everybody.
Everybody.
So Steven Spielberg was fascinated at the same time, so angry at him.
Oh, I can imagine. And yeah, Ridley Scott, his background was he filmed commercials, which is why a lot of the shots in his movie were so like dreamy looking. But he was just like a garden variety commercial filmmaker, or filmed commercials, and then he went into movie making. Amazing. All right, what's your next one?
This is so funny now. Betsy Martin has posted my next one.
Oh, okay.
Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. Because as a young gay man,
Oh, God, here we
course.
go.
of course I love Tippi Hedren. And
Sure.
the blonde and the green costume.
And the suit and the
suit,
handbag and,
the
yeah.
handbag and everything.
Right.
Put such a beautiful, stylish woman in this movie with birds. And it was, again, the fascination for me of how did they do it back then?
Right, right.
And it was scary for when I will always remember her in the telephone cell in the box.
Yes.
That was amazing. I was sitting there, little Karsten, and of course with the male lead, who was, I think, probably one of my first gay crushes, Rod Tyler, from the Time Machine, from the
Right.
original one, which is also one of my favorite movies in general. But the birds with the soundtrack, the noises, then when there was no music and it was only the shrieking of the birds. And when she was sitting in front of the school waiting for the teacher to come out and all the birds behind her were building up on the playground.
That is probably one of the most frightening movie scenes where nothing happens. She's sitting out there, she's smoking, she's waiting
Yep.
for her friend to come out, and slowly but surely you see that the birds are starting to assemble behind her. And it was terrifying. Like the first time I saw it, I was scared to death. And each time I see it, you feel this growing sense of dread. And I love the fact that even at the end of the movie, you don't know what happened. You don't know why all the birds went crazy. And you don't know why all the birds ended up there.
No, and what was the connection with the birds and the two little birds in the cage that she brought as a
The
present?
lovebirds,
The
exactly.
lovebirds. It was an astounding movie.
Agreed.
Typical Hitchcock.
Yeah. And I adore Hitchcock. I am a huge fan of Hitchcock.
And you have the Tippi Hedren Barbie.
I do have the Tippi Hedren
With
Barbie.
with the birds.
With the birds attacking her. Yes, I do. I mean, I could talk about Hitchcock all day.
That movie scared me more than Psycho. I don't know why.
Oh, it scared me more than Psycho, too. Absolutely.
Again, the pioneerism of Alfred Hitchcock always had to fight for his budget, or in Psycho's case, he had to finance the movie by himself, coming up not with the ideas. He has always a reference where he went with his movies. But yeah, astounding, simply astounding.
I mean, nobody could do suspense like he could. Rear Window to this day is one of my all-time favorite movies of any genre. And I've looked into the movie Rope, which I also love. And the way that it was filmed and the way that the tension builds. And I love Jimmy Stewart. I think he's beautiful. And but yeah, Rear Window. And I love the way that he used Jimmy Stewart in his movies too. I love it. Rear Window was terrifying. And they remade it, or they updated it with Shia LaBeouf in the Jimmy Stewart role, except he's under house arrest. And so he's sitting in his house all day and he's looking out his window and sees something bizarre going on, but he can't leave the house. And it was clever. I think it was called Suburbia. I don't remember what it was called, but I mean, it was a clever retelling of it. And at least they didn't call it Rear Window. Thank God, you know?
I think you're right with Suburbia.
Yeah. And it was clever. It was a good idea.
By the way, I
Okay.
also enjoyed a lot the Hitchcock movie Hitchcock with Anthony Hopkins as Alfred Hitchcock and Helen Mirren as his wife, with during the period when they have filmed Psycho.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh, Clara, tonight. Watch it.
Well,
If
I
you
mean,
need a
Helen
good
Mirren.
movie.
Yeah, I do. I'm desperate for a good movie.
This is really, really good stuff. And Scarlett Johansson is in it, and another one of these starlets as the blonde Hitchcock ladies.
Right, right.
It is really, you know, after this, you know everything about Psycho. And the relationship that Alfred Hitchcock had with his wife. And the part of that his wife played all of his life. The dynamic between them, it is such a really cute biopic.
Wonderful. Okay,
And
yeah.
Anthony Hopkins as Alfred Hitchcock. Speaking of a fat suit, him
Fabulous.
lying in his bathtub with the paper. No. It is so entertaining.
Wonderful. Yeah, okay, I'll watch it because, I mean, come on. How can you go wrong with those two?
And
Right.
it's simply called Hitchcock.
Okay. Let's see. My next one, and these are in no particular order. I had them written out in order, and then I realized that my order made no sense.
Me too.
My next one, let me pick one. Oh, Rosemary's Baby. Which I think, if I think on it, maybe the only Roman Polanski movie that I like. And I don't just like it, I love it. I love everything about that movie. And once again, the way that he utilizes the sets are incredible. The way that he utilizes that apartment building, incredible.
It must have been a time of his life where he was very serious about his work.
Yeah,
Because there's no fun at all or any stupid joke or anything in Rosemary's Baby. It's a very,
No.
very serious movie.
Very. And to see the very young Mia Farrow in that movie. And when she gets her hair cut, and she's such a young woman of that time. And as her dread increases and her fear of the neighbors increases, and you think, well, maybe this is just a byproduct of the hormones raging and she's just getting crazy because she's pregnant or what. No, she wasn't crazy and she had a reason to be frightened. And it's just a beautifully made, incredible film, a wonderful paranoid thriller. And I loved every minute of it. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah. And an unexpected end to the Omen trilogy.
Oh, that's interesting.
This is what I know. I have in my head. This is the ending of the Omen Part 1 and Part 2.
Really?
At least they're selling it here in Germany as that.
Is
Or
that
Austria.
right? Well, that's very clever. I never thought of that. Because The Omen is on my list. The Omen made a huge impact on me. And people were dogging it at the time, like, oh, it's some crappy Exorcist ripoff. And no. No.
It is at this time period, you have the Exorcist trilogy and there is the Omen.
Right.
Two completely different beasts
Yeah.
growing to the audience.
Right. I loved everything about The Omen. I loved Gregory Peck. I loved the fact that, again, the Catholic Church plays a role in the film, and I thought that the kid was incredible.
That was a scary child.
A very scary child. Through no fault of his own, just his appearance. He was a very frightening, menacing-looking child. And then the whole notion that a little kid, could be bringing all this terrible misfortune on the family and could be responsible for the death of that priest.
And the probably most spectacular hanging ever.
Amazing.
This is all for you, Damien.
That's
Jump
right. That's right.
through the window and back. That was
Amazing.
a moment.
It was a moment.
It was a moment.
Do you know?
Unfortunately, they did a remake and it was really bad.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I refuse to see
Liev
it.
Schreiber is not Gregory Peck. I'm just saying.
No, he's not. No. And again, leave it alone. Okay. The original was, I don't think that the original can be improved upon. I really don't. And I don't know what the point would be. And did you know that if you go to Georgetown University, that Georgetown has totally severed ties with the movie. They want nothing to do with it, and they don't sell souvenirs, they don't sell knickknacks, they don't sell anything. So if you're in Georgetown for Exorcist tourism, do not go to the Georgetown campus because they will not offer you what it is that you think you're looking for. Yeah, they
It's
just
sad.
want nothing. Yeah, they want nothing to do with it.
Why so serious?
Oh, I know.
I want an exorcism tour.
And the weird thing about that too is that, if anything, the Catholic Church came off as heroic in that movie.
Yeah.
But I guess that the decision was, we want to downplay whatever role the Jesuits play in any exorcisms anywhere in the world. Because, there's a lot of secrecy surrounding the ritual, and they don't, they didn't want to feed into that. And honestly, I'm sure that if Georgetown had decided to lean into the Exorcist history, that they would have attracted a lot of weirdos to the campus. There's no question in my mind. So I think that that's something else that they wanted to avoid.
Oh, a random movie regarding this topic, exorcism movies. Exorcism, this is not in my top, but I really, really, really like it. The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Oh, that's a great one.
I love that movie because I also really like a good court story, a court drama.
Yeah, it was really good. And I recommend that too. That's a really, really good one.
How
And
she
there-
was
yeah.
trying to prove that exorcism is real,
Right.
that it can be real. Let's put it this way: to save this father's life, basically, that was good.
Yeah, it was good. And there have been so many horrible exorcism movies made,
Oh, God,
so
yes.
many bad ones, that when a good one comes along, it's nice to see.
So my next one is a little bit related when it comes down to possession, but it is not a possession. It's a little bit random. It's from The Entity.
The Entity?
Nobody knows this movie.
I've never heard of it.
It's the first movie where Barbara Hershey came out, the girl from Beaches with Bette
Right.
Midler, Barbara Hershey, her first scandal movie.
Oh, okay.
It's based on true events about a family, specifically the mother, who gets not haunted basically by an invisible entity who's coming over and is raping her.
Oh, okay.
And she does not know why.
Okay.
Based on true events.
Oh,
We
okay.
always take this sentence with a stretch,
Yeah.
but it is the fight of this woman who does not know what she is fighting, basically, because nobody believes her, of course. How is this entity the impact on the whole family, on her love life, on her job, and then a crew of scientists who are believing her because they're witnessing it, and who are trying to catch the invisible entity who's raping her.
Okay.
And this, again, a strong female lead with her, a great storyline, and yeah, the raping part is, of course, not pretty, and it is so uncomfortable to watch because the soundtrack is killing you. It is so brutal in that moment. Every time when the entity is going what he's doing, it is so uncomfortable to watch. And Barbara Hershey is doing such a great job. Yeah, and then when you think for the time period, I think it was 78 around
Right.
when this movie came out, that was a lot to take in. Yeah. But it
Wow.
left an
Okay.
impact because of the music. And I thought, I know this woman. Where do I watched this fairly late in my life. Where do I know her from? I think it was a recommendation from somebody, from a colleague, when we talked about horror movies. And then I thought, oh my God, this is a young Barbara Hershey. Wow.
Right. Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I will keep an eye out for it.
And they
I-
also
like
want
I
to
said-
remake it.
Oh, of
Don't
course
do it.
they
You
do.
cannot remake this in 2025. It's too shocking how they did it. They cannot do this nowadays anymore.
Right.
Not in this way. When she is lying naked on the bed and gets raped by an invisible man,
Right.
and you believe every frame that you see.
Yeah.
Amazing how they did it.
Yeah, a lot of those like really daring movies from the 1970s, they can never be remade, or they shouldn't be. Not in the year 2025. Like they can never remake Looking for Mr. Goodbar. You know, they can't do that. I don't think that audiences would understand it. I don't think that audiences would get it. And it would just be like a whole cavalcade of victim blaming. And I'm not in the mood for it. The original was amazing.
And what could you add nowadays to these stories?
Nothing.
Which was a big problem for The Exorcist, the latest one. They have shown everything. Linda Blair did everything. So what can you add?
Yeah, exactly. But see, that's the other thing about that sequel, or that whatever it is, that the first part of that trilogy. It was the thing that struck me about it was how unmemorable it was. Like, when you were talking to me about it, I remember the scene where the girls go to the woods, and I remember the hospital scene,
Yeah.
and I don't remember very much of the rest of it. It doesn't grab you. It's not the same. It doesn't have the same impact. And obviously, anybody who's seen The Exorcist is going to have super high standards because that was a classic. And so, okay, fine. What do you have to offer that's new? Okay, well, now you have two girls instead of one. Well, that's not enough. I mean, what else do you have to show?
You have the church and then the voodoo.
Right.
The let's say the serious Catholic Church and the alternative way.
Right.
But again, this was so badly made.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. But for everybody who's looking out for a good exorcism movie in the future, the studio has ordered Mike Flanagan, the guy from House on Haunted Hill and Gerald's Game, all this good horror stuff that he made to redo The Exorcist. If he will be more successful, I don't know. But at least I know Mike Flanagan is a goddamn good director.
Yeah, he is. He is. He is. And he knows how to create a mood, which is important.
Yeah. And works with with real actors, who's also always in the budget, who's not going crazy.
Right.
So
I just want somebody who respects the original source material. Because there are a lot of people who are real sticklers for, the William Peter Blatty book and the Friedkin movie, and it's like...
I have to admit, I never read it.
Neither did I. I didn't read it either.
But now that I have finished the Wicked book, maybe I should start with the Exorcism.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, yeah, I haven't finished reading Wicked yet. It's been very slow going. I just need to.
Speaking of Wicked.
Oh God, here we go. Speaking of Wicked, you guys.
Speaking of Wicked, and that we are asking too much for having nice little things in our life. I want this fucking teaser. I don't want to see any more handheld stuff for 5 seconds where you have to guess what is happening. And even though I know the musical, I know the book now, I need an image. I need to be reintroduced to the world of Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, and we are not worthy. I know this. We are not worthy of these two. Especially of Cynthia.
Right.
I want maybe there's an Easter miracle and maybe we get a teaser, pretty please.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you. I agree with you. I think that we all understand. We're not happy about it, but we all understand that we have to wait until November for the movie to come out in theaters.
Yes,
we get it. But couldn't you throw us a bone in the meantime?
I don't think we are asking for too much. I really don't.
I don't think so either. Karsten, you can entertain everybody. I have to step out for 1 minute. I will be right back.
Oh, yeah, of course. Hello. I will continue with my next and the last one on my short list, because of Clara and I, we can talk about movies for hours. That's not a problem, as long as there's something to say about it, or left an impact, which is interesting, has a great soundtrack, or whatever. And so the last movie on my very, very short list, and I start to talk about it until Clara is back, is Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Not the original, the Donald Sutherland remake from the 70s or 80s. This movie scared the living daylight out of me just because of the fucking concept, what this movie was, where Mother Nature came in and is suddenly starting to reproduce people. And they did it in a very graphic way for the time period. And again, a movie like The Omen, where you have a high-class actor like Gregory Peck. And here you have suddenly, I was introduced to Donald Sutherland as a very young man. That was amazing to experience. And especially the ending where he just stands there with the, that was absolutely amazing to me. The whole movie. It was the tension, it has a tempo, it was fresh, it was so different from all the other horror stuff I was watching in that time period. It was simply great. It was absolutely great. And Donald Sutherland, and of course after Donald Sutherland, I was introduced to Kiefer Sutherlands, all the Sutherlands. So that was a fantastic, great moment for me to watch. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And yes, I have seen the original after years later, the black and I think it was in black and white. And I loved how this is one of the remakes where I say that was a goddamn good remake from the original black and white movie. Yes, the original story was introduced in the black and white movie, but how they have developed the story in that time period with such a great cast and with the technique and the special effects, it belongs there. This is another movie, never remake it. It will never work in our time.
I agree.
Because the story is the idea is too silly. That there is a plant from out of space who's reproducing people and is slowly taking over.
Right.
This is a concept that is too absurd for our time, and we have it already in a really good way. So that was my last recommendation on my little short list for today.
Okay, well, I'm going to do one more.
Yes, please.
I've got a whole list, but
I was surprised that how much my movies were different from, for example, the highest rated IMDb horror movies.
Okay.
Or when you Google the 100 most successful horror movies. My movies, yes, they're all in there somewhere, but not very close together in the top. Not really. But this makes it so personal. And I think a movie should be personal and meaning something to everybody, something different.
Yeah, I agree. And the last movie, and I want to make everybody understand, I am not discounting Jaws, Psycho, any of those classics, right? Scared me half to death, all of them. But in terms of a movie that made an impact on me personally and, an impact culturally, I would have to include the Blair Witch Project. And I know that a lot of people were disappointed and they thought it wasn't that great and they don't get it and all that. I was terrified during that movie. And if you think about it, nothing really happens in that movie.
No.
It's all power of suggestion. Like when they're walking through the forest and they see those stick figures hanging from the trees. Mm-hmm. What do those stick figures mean? Nobody ever explains it. And in a way, good for them.
Yeah.
They're just up there. They're just there to provide like a menacing, terrifying atmosphere.
And we cannot forget the brilliant genius marketing for this movie.
That was what I was going to say, yeah.
I remember walking through Vienna, and everywhere, when the first posters came out, it was only the stick figure on it.
Right.
Nothing else. No title, no date. They have just put out a poster with a stick figure, and everybody was, what is this stick figure? These clever bastards.
Yeah, and the way that they marketed it, first of all, it was the first viral internet movie. Mm-hmm. Because the website that they created for it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And they really just leaned into the whole thing about how it was found footage and nobody knows what happened to those kids and blah, blah, blah. And so when you walked into the movie, you would be forgiven for thinking that it was a documentary, that was assembled haphazardly with footage that was cobbled together from whatever devices they were filming on. And also, that was very clever. Very, very clever. And if you read about how they made it, and the way that the director and the producers terrified the cast, and so the fear that you see on their faces is real. Like when they wake up and the maps are gone, and they don't know where they are, they're lost in the woods. It's just amazingly well made. Amazingly well made.
And I tell you, this only worked because the team was so small.
Right.
That nothing was going out to media or something. They kept everything together. We have to shut up. Right, Rachel Sackler? We have to shut up and then it will work.
Right.
And made so much money.
Yeah.
In comparison to what this thing cost.
Right. And I am not ashamed to say it scared me half to death. I couldn't sleep that night because of the atmospherics of the movie. And I've also said that, and I'll repeat it now since we're talking about it. If you decide that you want to go to Burkittsville, Maryland, and you want to take a Blair Witch tour, don't bother. Most of the original locations in the movie have been torn down. The town of Burkittsville does not welcome Blair Witch tourism. There are no tours. There is nothing. You can't buy anything at the local gift shops. They have openly discouraged people from going there because, again, they don't want that movie tourism. Like Point Pleasant, West Virginia has made money off of the Mothman legacy. But Burkittsville is like, no, if you want to come here on some, Blair Witch thing, no, forget it. There is no witch. This didn't really happen. It's not a documentary. Don't go out poking around. I mean, you can go to the woods, of course, but apart from that, there's nothing left. Nothing.
And this was the storyline of Blair Witch Project Part 2.
Really?
Yeah, when that came out, they have filmed in Burkittsville, and the people were all like, fuck off, it's not real, we don't have shit for you.
Right.
And then they brought in this other storyline that maybe there is.
Oh, okay.
And a group of people is going to the woods and then shit going down. It was really bad. It has
Yeah.
not worked. They tried it. It was a money grab.
I heard it was a terrible flop and that people hated it. And the sad thing is that it was, as far as I can remember, it was directed by Joe Berlinger, who is one of the greatest living American documentary filmmakers. And I guess that he tried his hand at fiction and it didn't work out. But whatever. Yeah, I never saw it. I didn't have the heart to see it. First of all, because I love the original. And second of all, because I have so much respect for Joe Berlinger and I didn't want to see him make a fool out of himself.
I mean, when a movie is capable of scaring you in the cinema because people are waking up from a tent and find stones in front of their tent.
Right.
Or the stick figures hanging in a tree. This is a good sign of somebody who really put thought into this.
Right.
The whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
God,
I loved
there's
it.
so many great movies out there. And it's getting worse because as older we get, we are hanging even more on to the older ones.
Right.
Because the new ones are so disappointing.
They are.
Hashtag Exorcist believer.
They are. But we've got the substance.
Yeah. We get Demi Moore in all her 61-year-old glory.
Right.
Sitting at home, taking care of Bruce Willis, beautiful children, getting this script from a not really known French director.
Right.
And I would love to know what Demi Moore was thinking when she read it and thought, yeah, this is the one. This is the one.
Yeah, agreed.
Guys are going to France for 2 months. This is the one.
Yeah.
And had such a great year. I'm still so happy for her.
Me too. Me
To
too.
really
I mean,
enjoy all the circus around it. The award seasons, the dresses.
me too.
And honestly, there was not really anybody, I had the feeling, had anything bad to say about the substance. No catfighting.
No.
Miss Query was very generous with Demi Moore because she knew her place. Self-awareness, right, Rachel Zegler?
Right, exactly. Exactly. And she landed back on the map with an incredible performance that I never I mean, look, you know, you and I have talked ad nauseum on the phone about The Last Showgirl.
Oh,
And what a remarkable little gem of a movie that is. And I mean, I saw performances out of actresses that had either turned into punchlines or were considered to be too old, or not easily pigeonholed anymore. And I saw them turn in some absolutely spectacular performances. So it was a great year for older actresses last year. It really was. And it would have been nice to honor Demi Moore with the Oscar. I would have awarded it to her, absolutely.
and this sounds now very arrogant of me to say, but the other one does not need this Oscar.
No,
Not now.
right.
Demi Moore needs an Oscar. She
Yeah.
needed that.
Agreed.
And now she is at home with all the awards in one row and one empty space.
Right. And the thing is, I mean, we all know that when it comes to people who have been in the business for years, eventually the Academy will say, all right, you know what, we're going to throw this one a bone because they've put in so much great work. So we're going to give them this Oscar for this movie that's not even that great. But it's like a lifetime achievement award, you know?
Yeah.
But the thing is that with Demi Moore, she deserved it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it wasn't just a phoned in performance. She was incredible in that movie. And the movie was completely and totally original.
Oh, yeah. In the beginning, I really thought, okay, this is very much Death Becomes Her without
Yeah.
the comedy.
Right.
But it turned in on such an epic scale
Correct.
because it was so well made.
It was so well made. And I need to go and watch some of that director's other movies because she has a vision that is very unique. And she got a great performance out of Demi Moore, an absolutely spectacular performance. And I think that, you know, a lot of people were saying, well, it probably doesn't have a great chance because it's a body horror movie. Well, maybe, but it was more than that. It was more than that, you know?
Definitely. Yeah. Thanks to Demi Moore.
Thanks to her, exactly.
Take Demi Moore out and replace her with ABZ. Nobody would have spoken about the substance to this level.
Right.
It was Demi Moore's big moment. But the same I said to you before with The Last Showgirl. Take Pamela Anderson, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Mr. Bannister away from the movie. Probably nobody would have spoken about this.
No.
This was
but
Pamela Anderson's moment.
right. And it was seriously, I know I've said it before, I'll repeat it now. It was the best performance I have ever seen Jamie Lee Curtis turn in. It was so raw. It was so beautifully done that I thought she improvised the whole thing. You know, it didn't seem like she was reciting lines that somebody had written for her. And the chemistry between her and Pamela Anderson was so heartwarming, and so genuine. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
I think you will love her too in Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Okay.
Really, where she got the Oscar for.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
it's outrageous.
All right. All right, Karsten, my foot is starting to hurt.
Fuck, it's 120. Oh, This is the problem with us, Clara. When
I
we are
know.
starting, it is a thing. I'm very glad that Negz is tolerating this.
Right,
Oh, it's who's on the phone? Carsten. Oh, okay.
right. It's always Karsten.
Yeah,
It's never not Karsten. But yeah, Karsten and I are known for having marathon phone sessions, and so we figured, fuck it, we might as well put it on the internet. Why not?
Yes. And now we can back after talking about great movies, great artists, achievements. We are going back to this bullshit here on YouTube.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing that.
But I think also, me not today, it's 20 past 10 p.m. No, I don't think so. I will look now for something nice to watch.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do
And
too.
crochet a little bit. Because
wonderful.
it's Eastern.
Yeah, why not?
I have to start with my granny square hippo.
Oh my God.
I'm obsessed a little bit. A little bit.
A
You
little
know me.
bit. A little bit.
Random. Yeah.
That granny square hippo is going to be epic.
Oh, yeah. Otherwise, I have to kill somebody. I don't know. Brownie, go hide.
Oh. All right, my friend. Love you.
Love you. Thank you for having me.
Thank
See
you for agreeing.
Bye, audience.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys. All right, you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here for a nice, wholesome, drama-free, look into what it is that we're interested in and what it is that we enjoy watching. So if you picked up some recommendations, great. And I will see all of you the next time. Thanks, everybody.